and welcome to Eye on Hong Kong. This is the 20th episode, and this is Harminder.
This is Ki.
And we are going to discuss the topics of the week, and we haven't been here in a week and a half, so there's quite a bit. So let's just get started.
So good that we don't have a guest today.
No guest.
And no Lee.
No.
Only me and you.
Cue the romantic music. I guess, since we left off last week with Evan and Lee and us here on a round table, quite a bit has happened. I guess we could just start off with Mong Kok. Mong Kok became the only Kowloon side Occupy area. Thing is that some people weren't exactly happy about that. By Friday, people connected to Triad groups and the Neo Red Guard came out.
Neo Red.
This is the new term we have to coin about people coming across the border thinking they know what's best for us and scolding us and being violent against us and having absolutely no independent thought in their head.
How could you tell that they're not from Hong Kong? Maybe they're some new immigrants. Do you have?
Then they should know that we don't speak Putonghua here as an official language.
Do they really shout at the people with Putonghua?
Yeah, there was reports of people being shouted at in Putonghua. Yeah, there's actually a photo I put up on the On Hong Kong Facebook page of a lady in a mask and sunglasses with a megaphone directing thugs that showed up on that, I think it was Friday or Thursday or Friday. And she's yelling at him in Putonghua.
I think these people, they're quite funny. They are like, I saw this video about one guy and a lady. They're scolding at each other and talking about democracy, saying that, your kind of democracy is not my kind of democracy. How could you force it upon me or something? And then they were like, really have a big fight in front of
several
the video.
times.
And at the end of the day, suddenly another lady came out from the corner of this video, and they said, "Wait! You guys, you all wearing this blue red ribbon."
It was staged?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, they didn't stage it. And then they said, I realized that, we're actually friends. So they become friends. And they don't argue anymore. They stop their argument immediately, knowing that they're wearing the same blue ribbons.
Shows you the intelligence level of these, anti-Occupy protesters. So Mong Kok happened. And, what was I expecting? I don't know, pepper spray, tear gas, riot police. Oh, wait, none of that showed up.
Why?
When there was actual violence, the police held back. But when there are peaceful protesters in mass, that's when you bust some heads.
Well, according to Hoyser, at 4 p.m. every day on TV, he says, because in Mong Kok, so the street's very small, and then it's very crowded area. It's not suitable for tear gas.
I see.
And then we think about the history of Hong Kong in the 1967, the riots by these leftists. Yeah. And then they also fired tear gas at that time in Mong Kok.
Yes.
So it's quite funny that they suddenly say that, now we can't do it.
They think we don't know history, right? they think we have limited
memory.
We only have short-term memory. No, we don't. Hong Kongers are very good at knowing their history. That's what I love about this place. That is the one time I would have liked to see some police action to stop the violence. Okay? But what we saw was that were Triad connected people plus anti-Occupy plus God knows who else was in there or sent there, because there were also reports of people being offered money to show up and cause trouble. What we saw was a hands-off approach by the police and reports of the police escorting people into taxis.
Oh, yeah, quite nasty.
Yeah, police just being their bodyguards in a way. And then I saw students with bloody faces and stuff like that, young people. And of course, they have to be criticized. You have one extreme where peaceful protesters are being tear gassed and pepper sprayed to no avail. And then at this point, you're basically just kind of like, playing patty cake. Don't fight, you guys. Stop. This is wrong. Seriously, that's what it was like. There's such an extreme. You had Darth Vader showing up on Sunday that week, all right? And then you had the Care Bears show up on Friday in Mongkok. Like, what's going on?
Maybe they were too afraid of being criticized again using tear gas.
Well, true, I would be too, but I think some pepper spray would have been okay at that point, just to stop it, right? You don't just turn a guy around saying, "Hey, turn around," and pepper spray him in the face. There's video of that. Instead, if there's actual violence happening, you got to stop it. And if you got to use some pepper spray,
I think they really did use some pepper spray.
I saw that a little.
But that guy in the video is quite funny. He was turning his back to the police, and then the police spraying this pepper spray at him. He was like, I don't care. He just stood there and then just received all the pepper spray.
Yeah.
Mongkok people, you are strong.
Very strong. And Admiralty, you got all the intellectual, engineers, lawyers, and stuff coming out. Students, Mongkok, you got the blue collar, hardcore, people out there with some chest hair, out there. You know what I mean? But besides that point, the point is that it looked like the police were colluding with them. But I don't know. That's. Some stuff looked really bad, and some stuff was like, well, I could understand.
There was a video also showing these some old ladies going into the police station in Yonmate, and they were distributing the blue ribbons to them inside the police station.
Blue guard.
Yeah, the new one. They're not the red guards. They're the blue guards.
Yeah.
So, of course, then the police denied everything, say that they wouldn't do something like this of them. But then what?
But there's video and there's photos and all that. I mean, there's too much evidence. This is the new era of social media where you cannot hide stuff. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
It was all over the place. Yeah, some stuff you might look out of context. Like photos, sometimes it'll look like one thing, but if you look at the entire video, okay, I understand. But some video looked pretty damning. You know? So it needs to be investigated. I've heard that there's been cases opened in the Police Complaints Commission against this, so hopefully something comes about. I don't know if it will, but hopefully something happens on that front. And please, no violence. But of course, if you're being attacked, you got to defend yourself. And like I've said on shows before, it's time for all people of good conscience to take classes to defend themselves. Apparently some were even being held at Occupy, especially for the women who were apparently sexually assaulted.
Yeah, the video quite upset me quite a lot because you actually see these people who are wearing these blue ribbons and then holding another lady, and then they let the guy to touch her boobs, and it's quite brutal in a way. Yeah.
No, I saw another video where he grabbed her leg, but I don't know. Point is,
well, you never know. Some people, they do like leg
fetish. But point, I mean, you saw reports of people saying, I'm going to do bad stuff to the women and stuff, and they were brought to tears, some of them, and it was disgusting. These are cowards, You pick on women. I mean, how you think that makes you a man? You're pathetic.
And some of these, I understand that people will have different opinions, but sometimes I don't really think that is a matter of freedom of speech in the way when people saying that those women who got sexually assaulted by someone, and then they will say that, it's a peaceful sexual assault. That's bullshit, I think. And,
it is.
This is.
Oh, excuse me, ma'am. I may grab your boob, but gently. That is still a sexual assault. If she says no, okay, she doesn't give you permission. That is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. No matter how gentle or tough you are, either extreme is wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. So if people saying that the protesters call for this kind of assault by themselves, I would say that shame on you.
You want shame on you them?
I'm
nominated?
Well, we can.
The Neo Red Guard / Blue Guard / Triad / whoever was there beating people, assaulting people, you have been nominated. But you have to find out at the end who gets the prestigious award. All right, we got to move on to so many stories. What do we move on to? I really want to get to this, but I don't want to forget it. There was a mainland student who showed up at Hong Kong University.
I thought he was studying at Hong Kong.
Apparently,
Hong
he's
Kong
not
U.
a student there at HKU.
But why he suddenly show up there?
That's the question. This guy's from Tsinghua University up in Beijing. Where's Tsinghua?
Peking.
Whatever. Peking, Beijing. Where the central government's located. This guy shows up at a media class held by what's his name? Buttle, Mr. Buttle. Can't remember his first name. Professor Buttle. He was giving this class, and he is a English-speaking Hong Konger, and he's also an editor at the South China Morning Post. Yeah. And the guy at the end of the class suddenly gets up and starts hollering in Putonghua, "Why are you giving this class in English? Hong Kong's been returned to China. You should be teaching this class in Mandarin. Stop speaking English." He goes up to the front. Professor's probably like, what's wrong with this guy? He doesn't understand Putonghua. But the students were kind of like understood because some of them are Putonghua students. And he goes and he throws his binder at him or something, his folder, his file, and gives him a kick. And then he casually sits down, and there's people recording him, obviously, with their camera phones. And I put up the video where he's saying, like, I can't stand foreigners, I get along with Chinese people.
Why?
And all this stuff. Either this guy was, thank goodness he was arrested, taken away, and arraigned, and pleaded not guilty in court, and he's being held for a while, and he complained about that. And he's like, I'll get the Chinese embassy on the phone.
Yeah, he said he wants a protection of the PRC.
Yeah, and all this stuff. We're going to see more and more of this, that's for sure. This is the Neo Red Guard. These are the people going to come in to try to provoke people, try to scare people. People need to just hold their ground, and these people are cowards. They can't do squat.
I think this happened already in Hong Kong for quite a long time, and when the local Hong Kong people who speak Cantonese, and even like when you were on the street, and if someone asking you the direction in Putonghua, then if I say that I don't know how to speak Putonghua, then they actually say, how come you don't speak Putonghua? You're Chinese or something. It's quite rude, I think. What kind of language? You ask me in your language. Why don't you ask a question in my language?
I don't go to France and ask a question in English, and the person says, sorry, I don't speak Anglais or whatever, and I only speak French. I understand. I'm in France, right? I won't go to them, shame on you for not knowing English.
Then, of course, the big argument is that Hong Kong is part of China now, so you should learn Putonghua.
Until it changes in the basic law that it's an official language, I don't have to learn it. It's just an economic advantage to know it.
I agree.
Yeah. Because at the moment, all scientific journals, all law, everything, all law books, all journals, all media, international media, everything so far is still in English. Why? Because the British conquered the world, and they set this de facto official language of the planet. Universal language. Everybody in every country speaks this language, one way or another. And too bad. Putonghua is not going to take over. Why? Because it's a difficult language, number one. It's easier than Cantonese. But it's a difficult language. It's hard to read and write unless you grew up with it because it's all memorization, no alphabet. And it's not a knock on the language. Every language is beautiful one way or another. My point is that it will never become universal because it is not an easy language to teach. You need an alphabet. You need... If you tell people hardcore memorization, start learning 3,000 to 6,000 characters in a year, it's very, very, very difficult.
Really? Oh, I don't know that.
You grew up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't, right?
I mean, another thing is about this language thing is that we don't write simplified Chinese, and we don't understand it, and we don't understand when you learn Chinese characters. Sometimes you have to look at the character, and then you can infer the meaning by it. But in a lot of ways, in simplified Chinese, you cannot do it because they actually cut off this connection from when they make this up for the people who can't understand traditional Chinese.
Right, because isn't simplified Chinese the way you write it is the way you speak it, but in traditional, the way you write it is not necessarily the way you speak it?
Not really, actually.
Okay, I've heard that. I don't know if that's true.
I think it's about in the 100 years ago when they make this Mandarin as the official language, people was actually writing in an old Asian time kind of language when they write it. Then you really have to study it, and I'm not good at it at all. Right. So, and
I mean, the same thing with English. If you really want to know the root word, you got to go back into Latin.
Yeah.
Same idea, I guess, right?
I guess so. But in Hong Kong, he said when we speak Cantonese, it's possible to write it down, but people don't do it because it's even more difficult to do it. A lot of words are actually Asian words that we lost we have to find a scholar to study it. Like in Cantonese, we like to say 快啲.
Yeah, quickly,
quicker or something. And the D, we usually write the English character, the A, B, C, D.
You write D?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But actually there is an Asian word for that. I don't even know that. Only recently some professor came out and said that we can write it down.
Even English is a bastardization of language. It's not a real language.
What's it mean?
It's a language. It's a written and spoken language that's been derived from many languages.
Oh yeah,
it's not its own. It's not its own language. It's like it's a hybrid, right? It's got Latin, French, German, even like Hindi. I mean, there are words in there that are from all over the place. That's what makes it so universal and so easy to understand when you understand, of course, the word meaning, right? But if you write it out, it's not like what I wrote is not what I spoke. It is what it is.
Yes.
That's why you see a lot of contracts. If it's written in Chinese and English, it says, la 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 la. If there's a dispute, the English language version shall prevail.
Yeah.
Because it is the most complete, and you cannot dispute the wording, right? Where I've heard, I don't know if it's true, that the Chinese version could be interpreted in other ways because it's not exactly 100% correct. I don't know if that's true or not. I've just heard it, but
I think people prefer English in a contract because the contract law actually derived from the English law, so that's why people using the English version.
And yeah, exactly. Our law is English common law, so why wouldn't English be used as a language here? English has been such an advantage for Hong Kong. If we ever lose it, we do really become like any other mainland city because this is the only city in China that has English as an official language. That is a big advantage, not only from our law, but one of the big advantages is that we use English.
Yeah.
And since English is still the universal language of the planet.
Well, you also have to understand that the economy all depends on China nowadays. So,
but still, it has not taken over. Look, China can all day long dance around saying we're number one, and this week they've become the number one economy according to Business Insider. All right? They have become the number one economy, but they have no soft power. Something the West, something the United States, as tyrannical as it's become, as tyrannical as the United Kingdom has become, all these Western countries have become, they still have immense soft power because they still rely on the core value of Western thinking, of rule of law, of freedom of speech, freedom of movement, all this stuff, and that's what appeals to people. What I call Americana, the 1950s version of America that I admire, not this new version that's come out since 9/11. That is why people hold on to those values dearly and like that soft power and trust them more, even though they have ulterior motives. Instead of China, you're communist, you're authoritarian. People don't like to live under that, even though they're making money under that. You know? Soft power is not there.
Well, when you talk about China, then I also saw the news today from Now TV, and then they say that someone organizing the protests in Tiananmen to support Hong Kong Umbrella Revolution, and of course, and that's. But sadly, from the news, it says that no one actually showing up in the Tiananmen. Of course, because of the safety problem. Yeah.
Do you want to go to a hard labor camp for 10 years? I don't. You know?
I mean, when in 25 years ago, when there was a lot of students in Tiananmen fighting for democracy, and then they failed at that time. And then after 25 years, I really don't see that people still have the power or have the will to fight for democracy in China now.
Because economically things are good.
Yeah.
And that's why the Communist Party knows that things are coming down. They have economic slowdown now. And it's going to keep slowing down. There's massive distortions this is the problem with centralized controlled markets, is that you create massive distortions, and the only way to correct it is a big crash, and then you start up again. Right?
Yeah, well, we heard of that people say that there will be a crash, and then we don't really see it for quite a long time.
Yeah, because they come up with new ways to prolong it. That's all that they're doing. Law of economics is this can't go on forever. Same thing in the West. You can't print money forever. You know, that's the only way that it's being held up. This house of cards known as the global economy is that they keep printing money and keeping the interest rates at 0%. That's killing us, the middle class, the lower class, by inflation, which is actually an unofficial tax. And, as much as our tax rate is 16.5%, 17.5%, not really, add 10% to that. That's your real tax rate, because you're being nailed to the wall by inflation, Anyways, let's not get into that today. There's so much more to go through. All right. Next, the students were going to have a... by the way, I nominate that guy for a Shame on You award.
Which? Oh, okay.
The HKU attacker.
Okay.
Right? The students were going to meet Carrie Lam,
right,
Chief Secretary, for negotiations to end this, Occupy movement, or at least get some negotiations started. All right, so hooray, all right, we're going to get some dialogue going. Then the students made two demands. One, we discuss political reform. Okay, and please do not have us sit there going, yes, we can discuss political reform, but only under the decision of the MPSCSC and under the Basic Law.
I thought they
I've heard that so many times that I can recite it. Okay? Then they said, no, we want you to scrap the decision of the MPCSC and give us civil nomination. Of course, that's your starting point. You negotiate, right? Then they said, everybody besiege the place that we're going to meet and sit outside to put pressure on the government. The government's like, no, that's not going to happen. Meeting is off. And then numbers are thinned out this week in Admiralty. But then when the students said, meet up again to show the government that we have not become apathetic, we're just not, all right, I had my fun at Occupy, now it's time to get back to work. No, they still came out en masse last night. Yeah. So the government has a big problem on their hands. And instead of saying, all right, let's meet this weekend or something, they're going to Guangdong. The chief executive and the chief secretary are going to Guangdong for some forum, I don't know, some economic forum. Of course, what it really is probably to meet Beijing officials unofficially to find out what the next step is.
But for the chronological order of this negotiation, actually, it was when the government said that, we will negotiate with you, student group, and then they they set out these. The government saying that there should not be any requirement or prerequisites for the or conditions for this negotiation. And then the very funny part is that the government said that we are not going to discuss about CY Leung going down. And this is the one thing that they set as a condition. And I mean, when you're asking other side not to set any conditions for the discussion, and then you set it out first,
hypocritical.
And then the student group saying that because of the Mongkol thugs, and then they say the government should stop them, and then because the government couldn't stop it, and then the student group said, "Oh, no, we're not going to discuss with you guys on Monday or Tuesday." Then, of course, after the student group pull out from the negotiation, and then the government say, oh, "Okay, we'll start another round of negotiation with you guys." And then that's why what happened was that Carrie Lam suddenly came out to the press saying that, "Oh, we'll stop the discussion with you guys because you guys are trying to get more people in Admiralty."
Well, duh. All right. So the government is thick-headed, has absolutely no idea how to handle this, as far as I can tell. Even John Jung said we weren't psychologically ready for this, which is telling. Is it time? Because here's the thing. As a gesture of good faith to the people of Hong Kong, is it time to pull out of Causeway Bay and Mong Kok and consolidate everything into Admiralty?
I think it's very difficult to tell people to do it now because in Mong Kok and in Causeway Bay and Mong Kok, the student groups or the Occupy Central organizer, they have no say at all.
That's the thing.
To the people.
This movement,
revolution
movement has no leadership. Occupy Central leadership, who? They don't matter anymore. It's the students actually that are leading this, if anybody's leading it.
Even the student, they couldn't really say
but
anything
if you
for the
had
Mong
to
Kok.
pick somebody,
right.
I'd pick the students over the Occupy Central.
The gay couple?
Who's the gay couple?
The student leaders.
Yeah, they're making it out to be rock stars on Facebook.
People making a fan group for them.
Fan groups, and stuff
because
like
say
that.
They are very homoerotic. Even the student group official fan page, they also make a statement on that, saying that this is a very tough time. Let's put these love affair thing aside first.
Okay, well, you know what? If girls are gonna like any guy, it's better these guys that actually stand up for their city, that actually have a pair to go against tear gas and the government and sit and stay sit-ins and stuff, than some moron that only cares about his hair and his iPhone 6. All right.
Are you talking about me?
No,
iPhone
because
6.
no, it's okay to own an iPhone 6. It's okay to have your hair nice and wear nice clothes, nice threads, by the way.
Thanks.
My point is, if that's your world and nothing else is, that's a problem.
I think also SCMP reported that the Hong Kong girls, they have a new standard for picking the boyfriend now.
Let me guess. Hi, what's your name? My name's Bob. Oh, hi, Bob. Did you attend Occupy Central? No. All right, next.
Yes, actually, that's what they say. That
that's the first question.
They say that the girls, they would like to have a boyfriend who actually occupy Mong Kok, not only.
Oh my God!
Because in Mong Kok is a real dangerous area that they say.
Oh, you are tough if you go to Mong Kok.
No, if you occupy Mong Kok and defend Mong Kok, then it means that you have fight against these Mong Kok thugs, and then they think that you are brave, and that's why they say that the girls would like to pick someone from the Mong Kok.
What about the boys?
Oh,
Are the boys asking the same question for the girls?
I think they will pick someone from the Admiralty, because when you go to Admiralty, right? In Admiralty, it's completely different. People setting up the table for students to study, and then the girls are sitting there, and then distributing the blankets to people. They show love, and then
so the girls want the badass from Mong Kok, while the boys want like an intellectual, nice, pretty lady in a dress who went to Admiralty.
You sexist.
No, that's how you're putting it to me. Now, what about the boys that like the boys? What do they want?
Probably Causeway Bay. I don't know.
Why Causeway Bay? All the nice trendy stores are there.
Exactly.
Right? That's why.
Yes.
They look nice when they're there. Oh, that's just awesome. All right. Now, but in my opinion, I think as a goodwill gesture to Hong Kongers, because the Mong Kok one is really affecting business for restaurant owners that even if they're apathetic, they still have to pay their rent. And, and the damn landlords are not going to say, well, Occupy Central happened. I'll give you a break this month. They're going to give them the finger and say, if you don't pay up, I'm taking you to court, or I'm going to, whatever. I think Mongkok is more disruptive than Causeway Bay because you can get around Causeway Bay easier. Mongkok is that junction is so critical for so many reasons.
Yeah.
More than the Causeway Bay one.
I thought the idea of Occupy is trying to disrupt.
I know, but it can't go on forever.
Well,
it's been 2 weeks.
It's only been 2 weeks.
My thinking is consolidate into Harcourt Road, now known as what? Umbrella Square?
Yeah.
They call it Umbrella Square now. Consolidate into Harcourt Road. You can always go back.
To Mongkok?
Yeah. If things are really at an impasse with the government, they're being... hard-headed. They will not withdraw the MPSC decision, or at least give an annex now saying, sorry, your decision has caused all of this. We can't put it forward. Try again, right? Then you can always go back.
I only support retreating from Mongkok only because of the safety reason. But for the business reason, I think Hong Kong people, we are quite... smart enough to change the mode of business or do something else, and even some people
brought up fishball carts to Mongkok and put 689 Lo Bacao right on their cart saying, look, we're like the freedom cart, you want our snacks right here.
And some shop owner actually saying that they, by only selling the water to the protester, they can actually pay up the rent in Mongkok.
I heard that.
So basically I actually think people, if you have brain, you always have a way to survive.
How about this? People, if you're in Mongkok, if you're in Causeway Bay, don't go outside of the area to eat and buy your water or whatever. Shop locally there to support them.
There's a fan page on Facebook telling people which shop in Mongkok they support the umbrella revolution, that you can go there, and so that you can support the local stores.
Okay, great. Very important, but I think as a goodwill gesture, maybe it's time to think about it. But who do you negotiate with? That's the problem now. All right. Maybe I should just, stop speaking in English on the show. I mean, we are part of China now. Maybe I should just start the show going, "大家好，呢個係Hong Kong，我係 Harminder."
I can't speak.
That's it.
我是蔡
Okay, yeah, you can do it in Putonghua.
I can't.
Sorry, our Putonghua is bad. We're bad commies. All right, so now there's this supposed scandal of CY Leung. Australian newspaper The Age came out with a front page story that CY Leung accepted a $50 million secret deal.
Yeah.
All right.
Because why? Why they give...
Okay. He was the Asian Pacific director of his survey company, property survey company. It's property survey, right?
Yes.
Yeah, property survey company, DTZ. All right. Now, DTZ had become pretty much a disaster by that point and needed to be sold or dissolved, whatever. It was not making money. It was in debt. So they decided to sell the assets and get rid of the company, and it would be absorbed by an Australian engineering company, UGL. Okay? They paid CY Leung 50 million Hong Kong dollars.
Yeah.
Why? All right. The story goes is that they gave him this bonus, supposed bonus in a way, so that he could not be poached by other companies for his services.
Yeah.
Because by then I think he stepped down from DTZ at that point. Problem was, this payment went unbeknownst to the board of DTZ and it's the people handling the liquidation, Ernst & Young. Now, as law, he didn't do anything wrong. Supposedly.
Okay.
There might be some holes. Yeah. There's some holes in there, no doubt. But from a certain standpoint, it wasn't like a bribe. Outright bribe.
Okay.
Right? There are many ways to bribe, like speaking tours and stuff, okay? Being paid for those, I mean. Now, thing is, he's receiving payment of this deal after he became chief executive. But because there's a past deal, they're saying he doesn't have to declare. Well, maybe, but ethically that's wrong. If you're a politician, you're supposed to be cleaner than clean.
Who said that? Not in Hong Kong or China.
Well, that's the
saying.
The saying, right? I mean, what do you think Xi Jinping's doing up there, right? He's trying to
I'm not happy when I know about this news. I'm very, very sad. I immediately go back and look at my own employment contract and see whether I have £400 in my contract, £400 million in my contract, £4 million in my contract for the restrictive covenant. I have nothing. I'm jealous. I hate this guy. How could he get so much money?
Well, yeah, exactly, right? You're put in certain positions. You get advantages like this. Not advantages as a bribe. I mean, you get the money advantages.
It's not really a bribe in a way. It's a money to tell him not to work for other companies. So it's quite legitimate for them to do so in a way. But it's just a funny thing is that. During the election in year 2012 for the CE election, the media in Hong Kong tried to take out all kind of dirty news about the candidates like CY Leung and the Henry Tan.
They found his mistress.
Henry Tan, right?
Yeah.
And of course, then we just wonder why no one finds out this kind of news from.
Definitely was leaked, right, by somebody on the inside, but why? Is this a way out for him?
And the very funny thing is about the timing of the leakage of this news. It was on the night.
Isn't it funny that it went to an Australian paper, not a Hong Kong paper, telling about Hong Kong's media, isn't it?
Why not going to Apple Daily then?
Then you could kind of say, oh, it's Apple Daily, it's sensational.
It's a tabloid.
It's a tabloid, right? Since it was done British company, Australian, you'd think they'd go to the Post. But I have a feeling the Post would sit on it indefinitely.
Wow, I can't say that. And the news actually came out on the night that the tear gas was used, and then the CE.
It did?
No,
it just came
Sunday. On Sunday,
it came out this week.
It went to the Australia press on that night.
Oh.
And then he was too busy to deal with this news, so he asked the police to stop the tear gas. And I have no idea. I don't know.
Well, that's just conjecture, though, right? That's
the editor of the Australia.
The tear gas part.
The tear gas part is
Okay, all right.
So, but it's a good timing,
Uh-huh.
and it saved a lot of Hong Kong people, maybe.
Well, there's a great article by Shirley M. on the Post that explains why it's not exactly wrong, but might be unethical, or he should have declared all this stuff. But why receive payment while you're sitting CE and not when you're done?
You mean after the?
Yeah, that's when he's receiving
after
one of the
terms
payments
of the office.
Yeah,
I actually just talking about the payment. I mean, it's nothing wrong to receive the money that you earned for your past service. I think you can receive it any time after that. There's nothing wrong to receive it even as you are holding the office of chief executive, in a way, right?
I don't know, and not declaring it.
That's the other part.
Yeah,
that's the other part. He didn't declare it, and
did he even pay profit tax on it?
But you have to look at the letter, and you find it's very carefully drafted.
Oh yeah,
and it's a lot of proviso.
Yes,
and saying that he wouldn't. Under the letter, he was asked to provide service or support to the UGL, and even after he resigned from the DTZ, and then he actually handwritten. I think it's handwritten by either CY Leung or this CY Leung's lawyer, saying that provided that there was no conflict of interest.
Right.
It's very clever.
Right.
He's very clever.
Basically, he it was written that he would like help UGL in future dealings, provided that it didn't conflict with his current work as CE.
Well, also Apple Daily disclosed that UGL has quite a lot of dealing with the MTR in Hong Kong, and by putting this proviso, it seems that someone would expect there was some sort of conflict of interest in a way.
That's true, since MTR's largest shareholder is the government.
Yeah, so
could there have been favorable contract dealing?
They stopped the project now.
Well, clearly there needs to be an investigation, but they've complained to the ICAC. And some people have lost faith in the ICAC because they wouldn't go after CY Leung before.
Right.
But let's see what they do. I haven't lost complete faith because they are prosecuting Raphael Hui and the Kwok brothers.
Well, he's
it's
already
a big fish.
He's already not under the wings of CY Leung. So he was helping Donald Zhang at that time. So he's not the current one who's in power.
Still, I still have some faith. It's gone to the Australian Federal Police, but they have not said if they're going to investigate right now. And the UK is also going to take a look at this issue. So
more peanuts and popcorns.
Sit back and watch the show. There's never a dull moment in this city, that's for sure. Now, another thing that came out this week is a supposed article. Okay, I shouldn't say that because I do like some of the stuff this writer writes. Tony Cartolucci of the Land Destroyer blog.
Huh?
Tony Cartolucci. He's based in Thailand, in Bangkok. It's a pseudonym, apparently. He came out with an article saying that the Occupy Central movement is U.S.-backed. Now, you look at his articles, and I've been following him for a couple of years. It's a lot of anti-West, anti-Semitic, some of it. Well, I wouldn't say anti-Semitic, anti-Israel government. That doesn't exactly make it anti-Semitic.
He's a scholar. What kind of job he's doing? He's a journalist?
He's a writer. I say geopolitical analyst.
Okay.
All right. What qualifications he has, I don't know because nobody's seen this guy. No, he's never done an on-screen interview. Yeah, basically. This is like China coming out with their editorials every day and signed by some guy.
So what kind of evidence he has?
All right. Basically, he's saying that Benny Tai, Audrey Yu, all these people have met people from the U.S. State Department's National Endowment for Democracy and its subsidiary National Democratic Institute. And, they met them. They've gone to their conferences. They've given speeches. And supposedly that's grounds for United States foreign interference. All right,
that's all.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what the article says. Now, I asked Audrey about this article. I said, "Look, there's an article circulating."
Yeah,
and I gave her the link. And you need to what's your thoughts and what's the heads up? She gave the same answer later as well. That look, I speak if anybody wants to hear me.
Yeah,
I do not turn down, and it's true. She does not.
Yeah, she even came to our show.
She came to our show for goodness sakes.
That's a very good evidence.
That's great evidence right there. She'll speak anywhere so long as she gets. Her word in, she's not going to be like ambushed or ask stupid questions, right? She will speak anywhere that she's invited to,
right?
And if they want to hear her, she'll go.
Exactly.
Is that simple? Just because you show up at the NED doesn't mean that suddenly you're colluding with the U.S. State Department. All right. Now I can. You know what? The guy Tony Cartolucci has some good stuff in his background, no doubt. But that's when he can link evidence of actual collusion. All right, I'll give you an example. Ukraine. All right. Now, a lot of similarities are being made by Beijing that this is the Ukraine color revolution trying to happen in Hong Kong through the U.S. and other Western governments trying to create it. All right. There is ample evidence. All right, that the U.S. did fund and back the supposed freedom, democracy, pro EU groups in in Ukraine.
All right.
Let's not forget the in Ukraine, a elected government that was pro-Russia, no doubt, was overthrown. Okay, by shadowy NGOs. And the United States State Department said, we have given $5 billion to these NGOs to promote democracy. All right? And other, pro-West
Where
groups.
can I apply for the funding? I'd love to get some.
Jimmy Lai might be able to get through Paul Wolfowitz and tell you. Then there was also audio recordings of the State Department officials saying, all right, so when this government's gone, we're going to put in this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy in government. And that's exactly what happened. That got leaked. This is evidence.
Yeah.
Okay? Not, Harminder showed up at the Council of Foreign Relations in New York and gave a speech. Boom, he's a CFR member. And that means he's trying to overthrow Hong Kong. No. Just because you're a member of a certain group, or because there's like good people who believe in the rhetoric, and then there are bad people who use it for their own selfish gains or for their people that are backing them. But just because you give a speech at the NED does not, indict you as colluding with U.S. forces to overthrow Hong Kong and China.
Quite a lot of pro-Peking loyalists these days using these articles.
Regina! Sorry.
And they say that the Occupy Central or the Umbrella Revolution that was backed up by the U.S. got funding from them. And they also cited some example like quite a lot of transport company also trying to help the students to transport their supplies. That's why...
people wouldn't just have a heart, right?
Exactly.
They just wouldn't think that this is the right thing to do and might want to help a little. Oh no, it just has to be U.S. colluding.
Next time when I engage a moving company to move my house, then they will find someone in the CIA.
Say you're pro-democracy, yeah. No. Say you're pro-democracy, and they'll show up at your door and say, we're going to move your stuff for free, and here's some money from the U.S. State Department. There's
actually one local Hong Kong moving company. They would do it free for the students on the very first date of this Occupy in embassy, and you really can't be so skeptical sometimes for the good heart of the people, and only because you are only stupid and then you believe that this kind of conspiracy theory, I would say.
Well, yeah, it's a conspiracy theory until they can really bring out some hardcore facts, all right? There are NGOs here, no doubt. There are U.S. State Department-backed NGOs here, no doubt. Are they here to observe and maybe prod some stuff? No doubt, just like any other country would.
And very funny, after this and the Legislative Council, the legislators saying that they will use the special power in the Legislative Council to investigate the Occupy Central.
Then I want Tony Carlucci brought in front of the Legislative Council panel to explain where he got his information.
I would like to subpoena Colonel KFC to go to the Legislative Council because I saw the students eating KFC.
Foreign meddling.
Apparently.
Yes.
Is it foreign fruit? American?
I think it's important that we also get Colonel Guile from Street Fighter in front of the panel because he trained Joshua Wong.
Right. How to fight.
At the U.S. War College.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And then McDonald's.
Man, I don't know if you want to bring in McDonald's. You might trigger a war.
People would get food poison sometimes, probably.
No. That's the collusion. They poisoned the food in McDonald's trying to kill. It specifically targeted only people who are not pro-establishment.
Yeah.
That's what the whole Husi food scandal was about, really.
I know it.
I have no evidence to back it up.
It doesn't matter.
But it's a pretty logical argument, isn't it?
It is.
Look, if Carlucci's listening to this or anybody in the pro-establishment actually buys into it, look at the links and look at what the person is actually saying. Okay? The West long war with China. Really? The West is deindustrializing itself and moving everything into China. Okay? It's not... Okay. right now the West's focus is on Russia. Let's be honest, okay? They want another war or Cold War with them because the military-industrial complex needs more bombs and aircrafts to sell, okay? And now it's trying to ratchet up fear about Russia. Russia is actually more freaking open economy than the West is right now with their 10% like low-ass tax rate, and, you know, there's no capital controls and stuff like that yet. Now, do I agree with some of the domestic policy? Hell no, all right? But my point is that their focus right now is on Russia, not China yet. They got Japan to saber rattle with China to keep the conflict going, but I don't think it'll be a hot war anytime soon.
Right.
It's not time for that. Right now, there's money to be made, and they're not going to... This happened, if you live here like we have, this has been stirring for since 1997. Well, I'd say even before that, since 1984. All right? This has not happened spontaneously. This is not Ukraine, where suddenly people showed up and started having a color revolution. This is not Syria, where he threw in Al-Qaeda in there and said those are peaceful protesters just because you want to get rid of Assad. And Gaddafi did the same thing. That's not happening here. We're unarmed, number one. Okay. Number two, it's not a revolution. And we can discuss that next, in my opinion. Okay, we just want what was promised to us. That is all. These students are not U.S. State Department funded. They're really students. Scholarism was spontaneous and started with a 15-year-old boy. All right, that had more.
He was on the Time magazine with these devil horn up his head. Didn't you see that?
Was there?
Because of the M of that Time. Then you see the M right above his head. It's actually a symbol of the Satan.
Illuminati. The point is that it's this article that they're basing it on from Tony Cartolucci is nonsense. And normally I do respect Tony Cartolucci's article, but on this he's wrong. He's flat out wrong. Just because they're showing up at certain meetings means squat.
I also saw this Visa card local on the website, and I think he's saying that the people using Visa card, that's why it was influenced.
They should be using Union Pay. All right, now, is this a revolution?
I think it is, in the sense that it's the change is so great in Hong Kong. It's a revolutionary change.
All right, I don't agree, because I think it's a movement towards what we were promised, where we were able to develop our democracy within our own framework. Beijing has the damn veto power on anything that they don't like when it comes. But let us do it first. We elect somebody you don't like, you can throw them out. All right.
Then they will have a big political cost to.
It depends on who people are put in there. Right. They throw in somebody who's going to be completely antagonistic to central government. That's not good for either Hong Kong or China. You want somebody that can work with them, but protecting Hong Kong's interests as much as they have to protect the country's interests.
When you are trying to say that protecting Hong Kong interests, then it's actually probably is not in the best interest of China.
Well, then one country's two systems is a complete failure, isn't it?
Isn't it known?
No, but then if that is the rationale that they're going to use, then it's a failure. It was a sham from the beginning, and Taiwan should run for the hills if they ever offered this deal.
They have seen what happened here already?
Exactly. We were the test bed. It has failed. Macau is even starting to, see problems because their chief executive isn't even there is no provision in their basic law saying that they have their end game is universal suffrage for the chief executive. No, that guy's always going to be appointed by some cronies. I still call it a movement. You can call it a revolution. I think that's antagonistic, and that's not what we need. We need dialogue. We need to start dialogue now. This MPCSC decision it does not reflect the true views of all Hong Kongers. It needs to go back with an annex from the chief executive saying, sorry, we tried. It's going to fail in the LegCo. Nobody, majority of people don't like it. We got to try again. Forget about 2017. Try again.
I also look at how the Hong Kong people react to this incident. Let me call it incident first, because I think people have a big awakening here happening here, because usually people are quite apathetic to political issues, but I could see quite a lot of people, they still have the fire inside. I would never seen Hong Kong being so on fire.
Oh yeah, it's very heartening that people actually care.
Yeah.
Instead of just with their thumb up their butt looking at their phones all day, right? It's very encouraging, because this is the problem that they're having in a lot of countries where people are so apathetic that the government's pretty much running them over. And just, the people really have short-term memories and don't understand history.
I mean, when you go to Admiralty or go into Mongkok or any occupied area, you will really never seen this kind of Hong Kong in my life. Actually, people share everything. They give you, they will share their waters, and they bring food to you, and it's all free. And then if they ask you if you're cold, and they give you a mattress and even pillow. Everything you need there, just there.
And it has propelled Hong Kong in the eyes of the international community like nothing China has tried to do and has failed at. Hong Kong soft power has just skyrocketed with this, that they know how wonderful the people here are.
Yeah, that's why I think that when the police still saying that the protesters, they are not peaceful, I mean, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time.
Yeah, exactly. Just really quick headlines we got to go through. Jackie Chan said that, the economic loss and it's really bad. I worry about it because I got to make some more money. You freaking cog in the machine of the CCP. You made your money in Hong Kong when it was under the colonial system. You would have never become an action star if you were stuck in Beijing or any other in the mainland during the Cultural Revolution. You probably would have been killed or put in a work brigade. You made your big fortunes in America, all right, and you go back to the CCP and criticize the city that made you. You are no longer a Hong Konger.
Be kind to him.
Focus on your son, Jackie Chan.
Exactly. That's why he said all these things.
He's trying to get him a light sentence. All right, next issue. The United States wants to restart their a biannual report or whatever on Hong Kong affairs. Blah. It means nothing because the British Foreign and Commonwealth Office releases their report, and it means, diddly squat. It means nothing.
I agree.
So don't waste U.S. taxpayer money, please. Spend it on something better. The economic impact hasn't been as great as Robert Chow. He was making out to be like
video,
like
the video.
Yeah, that was the apocalypse.
Yes.
Now, if it happened, no, actually. It hasn't been as bad as people thought. Actually, a lot of business people are enjoying Central like this and Admiralty because they're having a nice stroll. The weather's gotten cooler, so they're having lunch on
it's quite nice, actually.
It's so nice, actually. So a car-free downtown isn't that bad.
I think actually they should make it once a month, even after
car-free.
I mean, the car in Admiralty or in Central.
Just have the trams running, nothing more.
Yeah. I think it's quite nice.
Sure. I don't think people are really complaining that much. So the point is moot. And finally, LegCo was suspended this week, where they were supposed to return on Wednesday.
Yeah.
But the pro-establishment crapped their pants and said, we don't want to go through those protesters. We might actually get yelled at, and not in a nice way. So we're afraid of that. Please cancel the meeting. And Jen Yao Singh, the LegCo president's like, okay. All right, and they might have an alternative venue or whatever. Go back to the old LegCo building. I don't know.
But funny thing is that the night before they announced that they won't go back to the Legislative Council on Wednesday. I think it's Tuesday night, and then Priscilla Leung, and she posted up a Facebook picture of herself. She's a pro-Peking loyalist,
big time.
He was walking through these protester, and then she was picturing herself inside in Admiralty quite safely. Nothing wrong.
Jiang Yao Singh took a stroll.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. Nothing is going to happen. Now, those people that block people from going to the work into the central government offices, the civil servants, that was wrong. You cannot force your opinion on somebody else.
I agree, but the thing is that during the whole protest and during the week, I can go inside the legislative council.
Then why did they stop him on Friday?
Last
Friday.
Last Friday, I think these worker from the on the TV, right?
The cleaner.
The cleaner. They say they want to use the original bridge to go to the headquarters. Actually, they can go through under.
No, but people were stopped on Friday from going in.
No, they can go through from another entrance.
Then why was I seeing that all over the news?
One guy actually only. One is not a cleaner. He was a security guard. He's a part-time there. He only worked there for 5 days. He especially employed him for 5 days.
And they based the entire story around this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, stupid media.
And then there's some of these government civil servant, they actually make some clarification on Facebook saying that, I have no problem going in and out. I can confirm that because I can go in and out.
I take that back. All right, because I thought they were blocking people, and it looks like there's just the media sensationalizing a small thing. All right, so we got to end the show. Shame on You Award. We nominate the Neo-Red Guard / Blue Guard / whoever supports violence. 2 is the Tsinghua University student who attacked Professor Buttle. 3 is the pro-establishment side who are afraid of their own shadow and don't want to show up for work because, any opinion against them is like, I guess garlic to a vampire, right? Oh, my God, democracy, right?
I will pick
anybody else do you nominate?
I will pick the pro-establishment loyalist because when you look at the people, the Neo-Red Guard, they actually are controlled or they were used by the pro-Peking camp. So I would place the blame on the pro-establishment loyalist. And for that Tsinghua guy, I think he's just a sad guy. I think he's a pro-agent provocateur. Not at the university, right?
No, but he knew he was going to get attention this way. And there was going to be more of it. People, please take self-defense classes. Take jujitsu, take Krav Maga, take, anything close combat, because that's usually what happens. You're probably not going to get into a knife. Well, you might get into a knife fight. So Krav Maga is pretty good at defending yourself against that. But take self-defense classes. And I will also nominate the pro-establishment because they say that the other group is the most violent. Right. I've seen nothing since the 60s but violence from the other side. Yeah. Okay? People have died under their record. Nobody has died on this side.
And no bus burned here.
No cars overturned, no stores looted, no bus burned, nothing. You lying sacks of crap. All right? And you can take Robert Chow with you. So, pro-establishment, you have just received the
Shame on you
award. And, when LegCo is back in session, and you know what? They've taken over some of these subcommittees.
Oh, yeah.
Pro-establishment. They kicked out the pandems where there was an unwritten rule of you get some, I get some. Pandems took over 2 of the subcommittees of the finance committee groups, which is good because of the In Leung Sing crap that happened last year. But then the pro-establishment went the other way and took over a lot of the pandems positions in other committees.
Right.
So the good news is that politics is getting dirty in the city.
And they also I think the pandemic they will launch these
lot
uncooperative so it'll be fun.
It's going to be a fun time. This is going to be a fun LegCo session. And there's always a live stream on their on the LegCo website, so you can watch it anytime you like.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the show. We will start bringing back guests again. It's just that a lot of them are in Occupy, so it's hard to bring them in, or even on a telephone. You have to kind of go there, so we might have to do that next week or something. So please go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/IonHK Please go to Twitter @IonHK our YouTube, youtube.com/IonHK. And of course, you can subscribe on iTunes, Ion Hong Kong. You can just search that. And spread the word. Thank you for liking our page. I mean, the more, the better. We're just going to improve this platform, this alternative media platform that we're building here. It starts with the podcast where we're going to bring in other stuff, maybe more podcasts, maybe articles. You got to stay tuned to find out what's coming up. But we want to give views, bring people on that cannot get a view on other places. And, even if they are in other places, it doesn't hurt to have another platform to air your views. But, of course, we ask anybody that wants to contribute to please have a good, have logical hypotheses and some good sources, not just you showed up in a meeting that makes you a foreign meddler. Anyways, that's the end of the show. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.